I've done it. I have actually finally done it. After years and years of trying to keep up with season after season, only failing at the failing, I have finally watched enough anime in a single year to actually make a video about it. Now, admittedly, it's not the video that I wanted. It's not the video that I necessarily wanted to make. I wanted to make a full tier list going on for like 2 hours about every single anime that I ended up watching, but having something is better than having nothing. And the fact that I'm able to even do something is an accomplishment within itself. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all types of ages, welcome to my admittedly kind of late list of the top 2024 anime that came out last year. Now, of course, this goes without saying, I'm not treating this as a definitive list. I'm treating this as a subjective list, as these are my own personal opinions of what I think was some of the best anime that I watched. Because again, there's a lot of anime that I didn't watch. There's a lot of anime that I'm currently watching that I haven't finished. This list, for all I know, could be subject to change. But as of right now, this is how it stands, this is where it is. And if you have your opinions on what you think is the best, go ahead and comment down below, because I'd love to hear your opinion. But with that being said, let us get into the video as we talk about my top animes for 2024. At number 10, we have Blue Lock Season 2. Now, hold on. Don't click off. Please don't click off. Please don't click off. I could just fight. I know. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. I know what this sounds like. I get it. I put Blue Lock on this list. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for it. But please stick around. Please stick around. Or skip if you don't want to hear it. Skip this section. It is chaptered, but please stay. Now, admittedly, and I will say this for myself, if I finished a lot of different anime that came out this season, it probably wouldn't have been on this list for the various reasons that it got the nickname PNG Lock this season, because the animation was just not good. I mean, I have a whole video that I put out at the beginning of January where I said why Blue Lock is what it is and how it is, right? And I admit in that video that the Blue Lock is an anime that I can get why people may not want to watch it. I understand why people may have problems with it. It's because of the bad animation. And honestly, I don't blame people. But similarly, like I said in that video, I think everything else about Blue Lock is so great and so enhanced that all the aspects of it just go beyond what it is. Is it criminal to put it in the top 10? Potentially. Is it bad to put it in the top 10 like this? I understand why people could see me and find it a little bit ridiculous. Hell, I found it a little bit ridiculous. I thoroughly went through everything that I finished and everything that I watched to sit there and say, okay, is there an anime that I could put over Blue Lock? And like I said before, there is some anime that I did watch but I haven't finished that I would definitely put over Blue Lock. But I don't feel right putting something that I didn't finish in this list. And that kind of plays into my philosophy of, yes, I could put something that's not finished, but an ending or how a season ends can always change my perspective. I mean, we've seen it happen with so many different mangas, right? My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, Oshi No Ko. There are so many anime that have 100% have changed how people view it just by its ending alone. And again, those are series that are ending. But it's the same thing for a season. You can like how a season starts, but hate how a season ends. And for a lot of people, the ending is going to stick with them a lot more than the opening. And we also see that a lot as well in the vice versa section. There are anime that don't start out great, that start slow, that start kind of bad. But eventually, it picks up and it becomes good because it ends great. Hell, we saw it with Blue Lock. When Blue Lock first came out, no one was talking about it. Everyone was calling it PG Lock. In the last couple of episodes, the talk for Blue Lock started ramping up until the final episode, and everyone's hyped about it. Everyone's talking about Blue Lock now. Everyone's hyping about Blue Lock. I get it. I completely understand why someone looking at me putting Blue Lock on this list and them just not liking it. I completely get that, and I'm not putting any fault. You're justified for feeling that way. But for me personally, and look, I can understand that. You could hate me, right, for putting it on here, and you're justified for for doing so, because the animation for this was not great and it doesn't really belong on here. I can admit that, but for how much I love the show, for how much I appreciated everything they did with characters and the way they told storytelling through this play of soccer, I can't help but at least put it on this list, at least at 10, because there's definitely anime that I have watched that is better than this. But when it comes to just being able to fall in love with something so hard, I had to put Blue Lock on here. I hope at the very least you can understand that if you love something so much and what it does and you're so passionate about it, you just can't help but put it so high. At number 9, we have Negative Positive Angler. Now, this was a show I really didn't think much of. I thought it had a cool premise, and I thought the idea was, it could be one of those like, oh yeah, it's like heartfelt, but it's kind of whatever. It could be like a nice story. I wasn't expecting to get so hit in the feels and so passionate about the character's journey going through the problems that he was going through, the issues, the stress, the anxiety, that I was so drawn into it. I was excited to watch this show every single week. The idea of feeling helpless, feeling like you don't want to move on anymore, feeling like everything in your world, it doesn't matter and it's hopeless to even go on, only to be helped by random people who are fishing, was weird, but it was wholesome. And just wholesome in the best way, as you see the main character of the show just gradually growing and growing into a better person, gradually growing and seeing that there is a purpose, but also being scared of that purpose, being scared of wanting to go down that path. We learn about other various people's journeys, their own outlooks. It's very interesting as they see everyone's own purpose for living and how he's starting to slowly understand that. And I love that so much for this show because it's such a slow burn. It's so quaint, it's so small. You don't feel it initially, but as you go through the show, you definitely feel that impact so much more, to the point where you can't hide it anymore. It's there in front of you and it hits you like a freight train. Negative Positive Angler was a show that I'm so glad that I ended up picking on a whim, because it is definitely most likely going to be my most underrated anime of the year. I need more people talking about this, and the fact that it's not is obscene. Please, 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 if you have the time, if you have the room for just 6 hours out of your day to crush out this show, please do. It is completely worth it. At number 8, we have Windbreakers, and this was another show that I was not expecting anything at all, and it really surprised me in the best way possible. I find it funny too because before I actually started Windbreakers, I started a show called Buchigiri, and Buchigiri is kind of sort of the same, the idea of the school beef stuff, and they're all fighting because they're all from different rival schools and stuff like that. But Buchigiri was not as refined and not as great. You could argue that the animation was a bit better, but in terms of what it does, Buchigiri was fine. So when going into Windbreakers, I was expecting kind of the same thing. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a woeful mistake because Windbreakers does a 10 times phenomenal job with its story. The foundation for the story honestly isn't much to write about. It's the typical diamond in the rough meeting a pair or a group of people who end up reshaping him into a better person type of situation. But it's told so well in the way that they show the progression of the main character and just the people around him. And all the people around him are unique, they're cool, they're funny, they're awesome, they have their own little style and dynamic. I love each of these characters because they're so different in their own way and add such a different flavor to the show. Not only that, but this show can get deep. I was not expecting this show to be able to explore the themes that it was able to, the aspects that it was able to reach, but it does. And it does it in the way of fighting. It's amazing. And it's funny because at the beginning when I first watched it, I actually didn't continue with it. I think I watched the first 1 or 2 episodes with some friends and I just didn't want to pick it up after that. And it wasn't only till like a month ago that I decided to just pick it up out of a whim. But I'm so happy that I did because this show is actually super great. And the choreograph for this fight, when I tell you, all these fights are so nice to look at. The camera angles, the way that they move, all the different aspects in the way that they fight. It's genuinely so fun. And knowing that there's a season 2 around the corner, bro, sign me up. I am eating all of that. After the way that season ended, I needed more of that. I need to find out what the hell happens to that crew. And also this weird subgenre of like school fight anime stuff. It has, I feel like, a more complex system than most of them. I haven't watched many of these, so somebody could correct me in the comments, but when I look at this show, I haven't really seen a show that goes this in depth when the actual system and structures of a system like this, of a world like this, and it's fun, it's vast, it's weirdly fleshed out. Again, another show that I ended up picking up on a whim that I'm gratefully happy that I actually finished, because this was such a banger. At number 7, we have Nier Automata Part 2. And if you've been on the channel for long enough, you would know that I'm a big fan of Nier Automata. It is one of my favorite video games of all time. So when I found out that it was getting an anime, I was so hooked on it. I was already locked into season 1 before they stopped, delaying it and stuff like that. But we didn't have that with season 2. And let me tell you, season 2 not only got into the nitty gritty of the actual story behind Nier Automata, but really enhanced a lot of the aspects that I think were kind of missing within the game. Yes, I think it's one of the closest things that I could go to a masterpiece when it comes to a game, but there are a few aspects that I definitely had some questions on that were greatly expanded on when it came to the anime. The big hesitation for me, however, when it came to Nier Automata was how they were going to do certain video game aspects, video game things when it comes to translating it into anime. The biggest thing being the ending part of the game, which I'm not going to spoil it. If you want to know, you should play it. It's a really good game, but they do that in such a phenomenal way. I am so happy with how that ended that I ended up crying. I cried like twice at part 2, and oh my god, is it phenomenal. Now, admittedly, I do want to put Nier Automata higher. I really do. But over the months of me sitting there and thinking about it after I finished it, I wondered if I really liked the anime for what it did, or if I liked the anime because it's based on the video game. And I wonder if the anime itself could survive without the influence of the video game. Now, I know to most people that might not be like a big thing, a big talking point, but for me, it's something that is kind of important because, yeah, I can look at it as an adaptation, but do I like the actual story and what the anime did, or do I just like the anime because of the video game? And I think that's why I'm putting it at number 7 and being very reserved where I'm putting this. And I think I might be putting out a review later to really Jesus Christ, to really dive into this idea where I can really explore it more. But even though I do have that reservation for it, I still think Nier Automata deserves to be in my top 10 spot because it's just that damn good. Even if it's based on the video game alone, that's how great the story is. At number 6, we have Bleach the Thousand Year Blood War Part 3. And oh my god, it's just banger after banger after banger after banger with this show. I love Bleach. You already know it because my last name is Kurosaki. I love Bleach, and it keeps getting better. And the fact that 1000 Year Blood War is getting animated like this, I can't even speak properly because I am excited. This season has been fucking hype. All of 1000 Year Blood War has been fucking hype. Not only has this arc been some of the best storytelling for Bleach, but we got to see so many good moments, so many good action-packed moments. Oh, seeing Shunsui's Bankai finally animated, finally to see how beautiful they make it. Oh, I can't explain to you how good it is, how great it was. Being able to see Mayuri's Bankai again, to see how it evolved, bro. I can't get over it. I genuinely can't get over how good this season was. And you know what? Yeah, I can go on how it's still doing the anime tropes. I can go on and say how, it's still a shonen, and it being a shonen is all this, it's still holding it back. But dude, that doesn't matter. When shit is hype, shit is hype. This is why shit like the big 3, it gets so popular. Yes, all of them might have their issues, all of them might have their problems, but when a series can get hype, sometimes the hype alone is just quality. Sometimes when you have a moment that's just memorable to look at and it's played out so well, sometimes that alone is just enough. And this season was probably by far the best that 1000 Year Blood War has been. I can't wait till we get more of it. I want to see getting more animation, I just want to see higher quality stuff. I want to know what more original things that they're going to add into the series that's just going to have it. I want some more Giselle. Give me more Giselle. Give me more Giselle, please. I want more Giselle. I can fully admit that I am a sick bastard for liking Giselle. Is it problematic? Yes. Are they not a good person? Yes. Do I still want them? Yeah, and I probably need therapy because I need help. But just on the quality of the animation and the hype alone, and finally getting to see all of this good peak shit animated is why Bleach, the 1000 Year Blood War Part 3 sits at number 6. At number 5, we have Alya Sometimes Hides Her Feeling in Russian, and depending on when this comes out, whether I put out a previous video beforehand talking about another top 10 list that Alya is also on, you would have known that Alya, funny enough, I think is in the same position, but for good reason. Alya is a beautiful show. Not only does it focus on the quality of romance, but it uses romance to spread itself out to so many different aspects. There's a bit of mystery, there's twists, there's turns, there's secrets. It's so weird how much that this show does that it doesn't have to do. And I think I said the same thing again. It doesn't have to go this hard. It doesn't have to be this high quality. It doesn't need to give these characters the attention that they deserve. But they do, and it's better for it. Off the premise alone, I was just excited to see what they were going to do with the romance. But they do so much more. They blow my expectations away with what they do with just the little aspect and the little just tiny bits of detail for each of the characters when it comes to their emotion, their facial characters, the way that they move, the way that they speak, the way that they talk to other people, the dynamics. I could go on and on about what I love about the show, the little aspects, the little details, the little bit of hints that they leave. It's so beautiful. Alya, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very peak, and I need everyone to go and watch it if you haven't, because it's just that damn good. At number 4, we have Kaiju number 8. Now, it's rare when I get to watch an anime that I read a manga for and finally seeing being animated and getting to compare the two. And Kaiju number 8 is one of those instances that I am so extremely happy with the way that they did it. Now, I will admit, when it comes to the manga and the anime, there is definitely a tonal shift in a lot of the way they address certain aspects in the series. Where I think the manga takes a more serious tone when addressing a lot of the issues and a lot of the scenes that come around, the anime decides to take a more comedic approach. Because when it comes to the manga, they definitely do go ahead and make things a bit more serious, a bit more direct when it comes to a lot of the situations and a lot of the interactions. But the anime takes a bit of a more comedic approach. Now, I don't completely hate this, since I understand they probably did it to make it a bit more digestible. And the tone shift, I feel, doesn't actually make it any worse. Sure, I would have liked it to be a bit more serious, because that's more of my taste. But honestly, a lot of the comedy spots are actually kind of funny, and I do appreciate it because it makes the show a bit more lively and honestly helps the bonding of a lot of the characters a lot more as well. And honestly, boys, you can't deny that that animation for that show is so hype. I was a little bit worried at first, seeing that some of the aspects for the CGI and whatnot, but man, did they come through, did they deliver, because that shit went hard, so hard, that made me fucking happy. I also think it's just nice having an MC from a shonen that older people can relate to. The idea of you may be past your prime, or you may be at a point where you don't think you can do things, but if you put your mind to it and you actually drive yourself, you can accomplish a lot, even at the age of 35 or 34, I think it was for Kafka. He might be a lot younger than that, but he does what most people wouldn't expect him to do. Yes, he has powers, but at the same time, it's still pretty inspirational to see someone who basically gave up on their dream go at it, despite even before the powers, making the decision to do so. I'm so happy that Kaiju number 8 turned out to be a great adaptation, and I really hope that season 2 keeps on going. At number 3, we have Dungeon Meshi. Now, when I initially watched Dungeon Meshi, I did not click with it, and it was for a good while. It was past the 3 episode rule, where I sat there and I didn't think I clicked with Dungeon Meshi. There was just something about it that I didn't either completely understand or I didn't fully comprehend what it was trying to do. But I think it was sometime around episode 5 or 6 that I finally started connecting the dots with Dungeon Meshi, and by the end of watching that season, I completely fell in love with that show. For a show that is all about cooking monsters, it gets very deep into that. The aspect is just kind of normalized to a certain extent. Obviously, when new people get introduced to the party, it's still kind of a cultural shock of you're eating monsters there, boy? You're being a bit sus there. But Dungeon Meshi is more than that. Dungeon Meshi is a show that is so captivating and full of nothing but good quality wealth throughout the entire season. If anything, I'm surprised with the amount of lore they're able to pack into that. In just 24 episodes, they've told this vast world that's just in a dungeon. The dungeon's not small by any means, but there are certain animes whose worlds are not even as fleshed out as Dungeon Meshi. The rules, the way the magic works, the different type of aspects, the creatures, the beings, it's way more fleshed than so much anime out there. I am impressed with what they're able to do in such a short time. Dungeon Meshi, dare I say, is absolute world building at its finest. It's creative, it's smart, it's logical, and it gets right to the point of everything. And that in itself is a rarity nowadays. It took a while, but I'm so glad I was able to love Dungeon Meshi, and I'm very happy to put it on my number 4 when it comes to this. Sorry, did I say number 4? I meant number 3. I don't know if I said number 4 or number 3 this entire time, but Dungeon Meshi is number 3. It's number 3 on the chapter. It's going to be number 3. It's 3. It's third. It's the third. At the number 2 spot, we have none other than the debuting anime Dandadan, and holy shit, what can I say about this show that hasn't already been said? Where a show like Dungeon Meshi took me a second to really get into it and get into the vibe of what the show was, Dandadan did not waste any time being such a banger show right off the back. Listen, we don't have to talk about what happens at the beginning, you know, the little like weird part. It's not okay. It's not okay. Let me address that. That part of the episode is not okay. But the whole rest of the episode and the rest of the series, for the most part, is very, very good. And while watching Dandadan, I felt a feeling that I haven't felt in a very, very long time. And I tried so hard to try to figure out what it was for the longest time watching it. And it wasn't until writing the actual review, which I'm probably not going to do anymore now that I'm doing this, the feeling was the sense of wonder. And that's because I feel like Dandadan feels so different than every other shonen that's coming out right now. If you've watched me a lot, and if you watch me enough, you know I'm talking about formulas when it comes to anime and tropes and all that stuff. And it doesn't feel like it does anything to throw it over their heads, but it feels like we're finally getting some new and fresh idea when it comes to the genre. The way that they're approaching their system feels different. The way that they're approaching character dynamics feels different. It feels like this is the evolution that the shonen genre really needs to progress into something more. Now, that's not to say that the shonen genre hasn't been kind of banger. Obviously, there's shows like Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and many others that have been really carrying the mantle of the shonen title. But Dandadan feels like the outside of the box thinking. The anime that definitely feels different from the others, that's trying new things that I feel like we've been stagnant on for a while. Not only does it feel like it's doing new things, but it's doing new things to a very good, very well degree. And I love every moment of it. The attention to detail of what it tries to do with its lore is honestly pretty impressive. When it comes to like the mantis shrimp thing and the whole blood transfusion for their son, bro, you did not have to elaborate on that, and that makes sense, but they did that. And to top it all off, the animation is banger, man. Science Saru went ham on this show. Not only is Dandadan probably one of the best shows to come out this year, it's probably one of the best shows to come out this decade. And I really hope it helps kickstart a new era of shonen that we can go to, where we can get the wilder or wackier stuff out there, because I really would appreciate that. And at number 1, the anime that I truly believe is the best anime of 2024 is Oshi No Ko Season 2. Now we get it. I know a lot of people are gonna look at me and be like, what the fuck, what's wrong with you? And I know it's probably not having some good press shit after the anime ended, and people aren't really happy with the ending. I haven't read the manga. I plan on reading the manga, but I haven't read the manga yet at all whatsoever, so maybe that's something I dive in, and maybe that changes depending on how things go. But at least when it comes to the anime and it's on Medium, my god, this show is a banger. The twist, the turns, the character relationships, the character agony, the progression, the digression, everything about this show is so great. Season 1 was already a banger, and season 2, it just somehow kept being a banger. This show went so hard into exploring all different type of aspects when it comes to the horrors of the entertainment industry, going through trauma as a child and being able to overcome that, finding out certain things and digressing in your mental state, mental health, relationships. It explores so much and does it so well, and the way they wove everything into everything else is amazing. Oshi No Ko Season 1 was a banger, and that hasn't stopped in Season 2, and if anything, anything, it got better. I love the tension this show makes because it does it in a way that is so believable, and it hurts. It hurts exploring that show, but man, does it feel so good. And it's so satisfying when you see the characters succeed in what they're trying to do, and it hurts when you watch your characters digress and go back to a state that they just don't feel well in. It hurts, but that's the point of the story. It's supposed to hurt, it's supposed to make you feel, it's supposed to make you feel things, and that's why Oshi No Ko is so great. On top of all that, the reveals, the twists, the turns, all the little things that it drops here and there are so nice and so good. We got so many big reveals for season 2 that it left more questions with answers, and not in a bad way, in a good way that I want more. I want more of the mystery. I want more of the turmoil. I want to know what's happening with Ruby. I want to know what's happening with Akka, with Kana, with everybody in this show. Everyone has some path that they're going on of exploration and going over the problems and traumas that they have, and it's just a freight train that won't stop, and I'm loving it. And on top of all that, they did that with a season 2, that same quality, and that's the reason why I'm putting it on number 1, because there's so many anime that can drop quality in season 2. It might not feel the same, it might be the same, whatever, it might be whatever feeling, but they put out that quality and that same feel. It's almost like they just didn't stop, and that's impressive to me. It really is. I get it, there's a lot of people that look at that aspect and think that just judging it because it's a season 2 might be a bit ass or a bit nonsensical, but you gotta remember, it's notorious for season 2s and animes to not live up to the season 1, which is fine, it happens sometimes, but to get a season 2 that is a banger on the same level as season 1, I'm gonna cherish that. I'm gonna appreciate that, and I'm gonna hold on to that and love it for as long as I can. Oshi No Ko will be at the top of my list, and it will always be on the top of my list as it sits firmly in the number 1 for 2024 for me. And that is going to do it for the top 10 of my 2024. Remember that everything is subjective. I'm not saying this as objective fact, but if you want to voice your opinion, go ahead and say it in the comments below, because I want to see everybody's opinions on what they think. And hey, if you enjoyed this watch, you should go ahead and like the video and subscribe for more of this content, because I'm trying to put out videos weekly, so hopefully that works. Hopefully by the time this comes out, we're on a roll. And with that being said, my name is Mise Kodasaki. Thank you all for coming by, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
I'm like so gay.